Welcome, world. Welcome to my very first show here on the Radio Luv Network. I'm so excited to finally bring to you the world of not only comic book movies, MMA, paranormal, pop culture, everything that keeps you entertained in life. So sit back, relax, learn a little bit about your favorite new video game hitting the shelves soon, and welcome to Clint's Mom's Basement, only on the Radio Luv Network. Hello, welcome to the show, and today we are interviewing Savvy Schmidt, who is the owner and founder of the Radio Luv Network.
Hello.
Hey, how are you today?
Good. Thank you for having me on the show.
No problem. I'm very curious. How did you get this idea for Radio Luv?
So basically, it's kind of a long story, but the short story is I got separated from the family that I had at the time, and it was a really messed up way that happened. After I had my last child, her dad and I lost our house because he couldn't work. He was waiting for disability to come through. And we basically, he moved home with his family, and there wasn't enough room there. Long story short, we went west. He stayed there in the middle of the country. And I wanted to start a company where I could work and make our way back there because I had no resources, basically. So I took my 10 years of radio and TV knowledge and experience, and also what I learned in American Broadcasting School back in 2003, and I channeled them all into this one company called Radio Luv. And basically, so there's love behind the company, which is really awesome. Now, things didn't end up working out how I had originally intended, but the premise of the company is the same, and that is that it's a company based on love and also growing broadcasting and bridging gaps and building communities, especially communities of broadcasters, creating employment. That's the ultimate goal of, and just basically having a radio and / media network, basically. And like I said, getting together teams of people that are really talented or just show a ton of initiative and making things happen, planting seeds, growing mighty oaks out of ideas that were, like I said, just little seeds, and watch the love proliferate, basically. So I started by making radio commercials, and basically went from there. And about 2 years into that, I started to feel like a radio commercial mill. So I knew that it was killing me inside, and it was all hours of the night. So basically I had a newborn at the time, and I was doing commercials at 2 or 3 in the morning. And it was great, like I said, but I had to make a concerted change. I had to make a deliberate change in my brain to say, okay, I don't want to do this because it can be, I guess, glamorous. You're doing commercials. I don't know where most of them are going, but it got really tedious. It's a lot harder, than doing a show. Like a show, there's a margin for error because it doesn't have to be completely perfect. Like a commercial, somebody who's buying a commercial, it has to be completely spec. It has to be exactly on the timing. It has to be exactly perfect audio-wise, which I can do all this. But there's editing involved. There's, it can take 5 minutes to edit something or to record it, but you can spend an hour putting the music with it, you read it 5 times, you take the best out of the 5, Sometimes you're cutting a sentence here, pasting it here, and it's a mishmash of 5 different takes, and you took the best out of all 5. And then you got to put it together seamlessly and make it just perfect. And so, like, you can see how that would be, like, with a newborn. And plus, it, like I said, you wouldn't expect it to just be, like, killing you slowly inside. And don't get me wrong, I love making commercials. But when it's all you do and you're losing sleep, something had to change. And I realized it was sort of going away from my ultimate goal, like, which is what I just mentioned about, like, making great things. And while commercials are great, I don't feel like they could make the impact or the resonance that we can make as a company and as a team, like, in the broader picture of things. Like, we want to bring content that's amazing, stories that are amazing, and that's a bigger picture, I guess.
Right. So you start off in sales? Is that what you're...
Yeah, like, so I had some connections, and I had, clients that I've got some repeat clients. There is always sales involved, like in radio stuff, but, and it's hard to sort of juggle the sales and the production because both of them are very time-consuming. Production's very time-consuming, like for a half-an-hour show. Like for the Standing Up for Standing Rock, that was a 28-minute show. That took me 12 hours from recording, putting all the background music in, taking the best of everything, and mixing it down, and then sending it to L.A. It aired in L.A. on 3 stations. So
right.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I guess I should have mentioned that you do have your own show to my audience. You have a show called Schmidt Talk. They may not have known what I was talking about or what we're talking about with the Standing Rock show. But
the episode, it was Schmidt Talk, and the episode was called Standing Up for Standing Rock, and it was in reference to the Dakota pipeline that they tried to, basically the government tried to, lay the pipeline. That sounds bad. So the media was not covering it. What I love also about Radio Luv, and I can tell you this from working around other, like, big TV stations, and I'm not going to mention names because now at this point I don't want to knock on my door, but there are gag orders, and a lot of times it does boil down to the person who's writing the news stories. They take the stories off the AP, and then they basically sit at their desk and they write what they're going to report on. And they have certain criteria that they're allowed to report on things, and then there's things that are off limits. And you can have, like, an order come down that day that says, okay, you're not going to talk about this. And that could be a presidential order. It doesn't, and I'm just going to be honest with you, a lot of times it's not even the stations. It's higher up than them. And I'm telling you that because I know that for a fact. What I do with Radio Luv and what I love about it, they could take my show off the air, I guess, technically. I don't have to go on their gag order.
Right.
So they can, a lot of times, one of their favorite things that they like to do, especially since, it's a woman that could be bringing you a story, they just slap a crazy patch on her and be like, oh, she's crazy, and then, write it off. So I don't care. But my point is, I'm kind of going by the beat of a different drum, and I don't answer to anybody. I don't answer to any big companies because Radio Luv is
pretty awesome. Right. I love this idea. So,
thank you.
How many shows do you want to encompass inside Radio Luv? I mean, you're just starting off eventually, right? I mean, right now, you're just starting off?
Yeah. So, like, you could say about 2 years ago, I got the idea for having multiple shows, and I do Schmidt Talk, like, but I wanted more, and I wanted it to be more than just me out there, and I knew there's talent out there, which is how I met you. And I put this call out to some people that would like to be hosts, and you answered the call, and we kind of went around with the idea of what were we going to do for a show for you. And then we were talking about, you can talk about different things like comic books and World Wrestling Federation and ghost hunting and different things. And I go, oh, you're kind of speaking to young men and young people and teenagers, and wouldn't it be fun to call it Clint's Mom's Basement? Because that, games and stuff like that, like, And so that kind of idea was born. But, yeah, people should know it took us a couple of years even to arrive at that idea. And to answer your question a little bit more, we have 5 shows in the pipeline right now in active development, and some of them are already off the ground. But we also, there's more beyond that. There's about 10 or 11 completely, but I want to keep going with them and just keep growing the whole network perpetually and airing in different outlets. We qualify for an XM station, like our own channel. Once we get all the programs rolling and get everything kind of going, we're looking at that. But right now we're just sort of taking one step at a time. IAS television on Roku, I think I mentioned. We're going to do that, filming the shows. I have a show that's my own called Radio Luv Behind the Pop Filter, where I'm chronicling launching all the shows, like a documentary style.
And that's on YouTube, right? Or is that also on the radio?
It's on YouTube,
yeah. Is that also going to be on the TV station? Or?
Yeah, it's going to be on the TV station. And then, so even though they are radio shows, but we all know in this day and age, you want to cover all your media bases. Like, much as I love radio like the next person, I would be remiss if I didn't admit that we need to cast our messages out on different platforms further than just what the airwaves on the radio can take us. And so that's sort of my prerogative. And I feel like that kind of flexibility, not being rigid, is going to be what sort of helps carry us out further. And, ultimately, like, we just want to bring quality programming and talent to the airwaves, basically, and just in a way that everybody's happy. I mean, ultimately, I know with the company and with Radio Luv and the hosts, there's not really, like, competition going on. In fact, it's cute to me, like, all the hosts are friends with each other on Facebook now, which, God, I hope you guys aren't talking bad about me. But anyway, hey, sometimes it's going to happen. Like, I'm a producer, but I'm only human. Stuff happens, and, like, stuff happens in my life. We talked about earlier off the air,
right.
That sometimes, like, I have crap happen in my life,
life happens sometimes. Can't control it.
Yeah, the whole machine might stop for like a few months, and I'm sure I could hear the collective sigh from my host. But things are happening. If they knew everything that goes into the machine that takes to roll out this big giant machine off the ground, because see, I know all the aspects that it's going to take, and I don't think everybody knows all the ground I have to cover just to get like everything going. But it is rolling, and I'm really, really excited. Again, so just to answer questions, because I know people have been asking Clint about the show, like, when is it going to air? So I've been really sick the last year. Like, I had issues. I've had thyroid issues. I've had issues with my gallbladder. I had a hernia. I had surgery, which basically now I'm not in pain all the time, so that's great. And then, like, I was all good to go, and, after 5 weeks of recovery, and I was telling Clint, I don't know if I mentioned it already on this segment, but I got sick with, like, pretty much bronchitis that was borderline pneumonia for the last 2 or 3 weeks after my surgery recovery. So it's
Were you in the hospital for that also? Or?
No, I got on antibiotics, though. But it was pretty much 1 step forward, 2 steps back. But we are rolling, and I just want everybody to know, and listeners, like I said, sometimes stuff does take time, and, like, since I have so much in my personal life and a single mom and stuff like that, it takes even more time for me to dedicate and allocate to, like, getting all the stuff off the ground, and I want it to be, like, perfect. I realize, like, nothing's ever really going to be perfect. You just have to kind of go and just go for it and just do it. But at least, things are going, and there is a lot of prep involved. Like, we want to make sure that there's an awesome, high-quality show, and, I'm speaking from a producer standpoint because I'm the one that would reach out and get guests and communicate on behalf of Clint. He's going to do this a lot, too, on his own volition. He doesn't have to. But basically, I'm going to be inviting people to participate in ideas. What do you want Clint to talk about? And, of course, he's welcome to ask you that, too. And we're going to be putting Clint around different areas, which will be super fun. Like, we're hoping for Comic-Cons and different areas. So.
That would be very cool.
Yeah. So it's
Are there any
really
in particular you're thinking would be great
this
to
is
go
where
to?
Clint helps me because he knows more about the stuff than I do. Because I can aspire to be a really good producer, but the fields that he's talking about are his fields. It's not my specialty. So a lot of times Clint brings it up to me, hey, there's this thing going on here. Oh, yeah, let's do that. I know it seems kind of, unassembled, but again, my job here is really big, a lot to do, and we help each other. And at some point, Clint will have his own producer assigned that will do the job of me because especially when we take more shows on, I'm not going to have enough time or energy to focus as much as I want to on the things that we're doing now, like the getting around the round table, talking about what we're going to do. Like I want to play as much of a role of that as I can, but, we'll see how the time aspect goes.
Right. So you're not just producing my show right now. You're producing, 4 or 5 different shows? Is that correct?
Yeah. So there's Connections with Lisa Marie, and that's in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Can you give a little synopsis of the shows, too, about what they're about?
Yes. Connections. So Lisa Marie is known as the Crockpot Mom, also the Crockin' Mom. She has a blog with, I believe she said 8 million followers. She's got 1 million organic followers on her Facebook. You can find links to her show on Radio Luv. I'll be putting up soon. She's also going to be on TLC in the spring. I don't really know what exactly her show is because on TV stuff, a lot of times they're not allowed to even really talk about the stuff until after it launches, like it's called a non-disclosure in NDA.
They're pretty insistent about keeping wraps on that stuff until
and then we've got My School Rocks, and we've got Elemental Metal out of New York. Shout out to K-Rock and Sin.
I hear that's a pretty big show, right?
It is a big show, giant, and their numbers are just outrageously awesome. They've been off the ground a couple of months now, and their show just went straight through the roof. But I have to give them credit because a lot of that was their own footwork. Because I had all the stuff going on with my health and stuff like that, and they just took the reins and ran with it. I know they're taking some personal time right now, but make no mistake, they're totally at the helm of that show. I would like to be more involved, and I'm going to. It's just that I haven't been able to up till now. And then the other one we have is called The Peel, and that one is hosted by Billy. I don't know that he wants his last name on the air yet, or if he's ever going to want to. He does bounty hunting during the day. That's his primary job, and then he's going to be basically uncovering stories, little-known information that you might not know about, just things that you might have wondered about before. That's why it's called The Peel. We have affiliate programs also. We've got Hope for the World. We've got Hope for the World with Daniel Evans. He's been my longest-standing show on the Radio Luv Network. He was the first one besides my show. Oh, Schmidt Talk, of course. I can't forget Schmidt Talk. Schmidt Talk aired in L.A. for about a year and a half. The S. Anthony Says podcast. We've got the AME radio show, the GF6 show. We have the John LeBang show. We've got the Locked and Loaded radio show, the Paul Farah show, and those are our avid shows that we have right now that are active with Radio Luv. But again, the ones I just mentioned are affiliate shows, so we will be helping them to get sponsors, and they're not like the original programs, like the Radio Luv original programs, which get more hands-on attention and more commitment because basically the shows that we develop at Radio Luv, we're putting our own money right back into them. It's kind of like at Netflix, how Netflix has their own original programming, so they've got teams and stuff, that they have a cast, they have all the stuff because they're producing something, but they also have programs that are produced from other entities that get played through them. That's exactly what happens with Radio Luv, our original programming versus our affiliate programming. So in case people were confused, like, we air different stuff. We don't create all the stuff, but we air a multitude of different we're going to be getting back on, and I want to expand the markets and put us on Las Vegas, Chicago, New York.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. So that's the stuff I've got cooking right now. Put us on some terrestrial stations. Terrestrial means like, AM or FM.
Right.
Which for the listener might not know what the word terrestrial is, because maybe people don't. Some people don't. But so basically, Radio Luv programming will be infiltrating a listening device near you. And, of course, so many people listening on their mobile devices. We have some apps in development through a really smart guy named Adam Wood. He's developing some apps for us. Yeah, so we've got basically a lot of stuff going on. I know this is convoluted, but you should see the inside of my, well, that's not a gross. I was going to say inside of my brain, but that's like, no, I don't think people want to see that.
Everything. That'd be a scary place.
Yes, I like to explain it like this. Think of like a backwards explosion, like something imploding. When you create a show, you're taking all these pieces of different ideas, and then they have to come together like an implosion into one show. And that's so at the onset, you've got all these ideas, and then you have to pick which ones you're going to use. There's always material, which is the great thing. If you have too much material for one show, you can use it for a different show. There's always topics. So I'm really excited to be getting this show going and helping Clint out, and I know it's going to be a smash hit. It could end up being one of the bigger shows.
You think so?
I want them to all be successful, but this is on the pulse of youthful generation stuff that it's really hitting like a nerve, of a good nerve, with audiences everywhere. I'm really excited.
I'm hoping so. With the wave of comic book movies that started, about 10 years ago, which I did a show over it after Avengers Infinity War. It's the combination of 10 years of Marvel movies that have been coming out. With all the comic book movies coming out, I thought it'd be a really good show just to kind of, talk about it, and not only that, but cover other topics too that other people would be interested in.
Yes, definitely. I think that's a great idea.
And, I'm a nerd and like to talk about that stuff anyway, I'm not crazy when I'm talking all.
Oh, this is a great nerd show. Perfect. And you know what? Nerds really do rule, actually.
No, yeah. I mean, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
So you're starting off your Radio Luv network with what? I'm sorry, with your original shows and also the other shows too. Are you planning on expanding the amount of shows you're going to have, the original shows, eventually, or are you wanting to leave them about the same for now?
Well, right now I've got my hands full with just the 5. I couldn't imagine trying to take off more than that or trying to launch more than that at the same time. It's a huge undertaking. I just couldn't. I couldn't do it as a person, as one person. I
imagine it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I have enough, to deal with the 5. People, like I said, it's because there's so many and it's all spread out, we can shuffle a little bit every month. It wouldn't be the same progress as it would be if we just did one at a time. But I'm capable of doing multiple shows at the same time, just contingent on my time. But I also have very willing hosts that are ready to get in that slot and, put those shoes on and fill those shoes. So then I'm not alone in it. I have a team, and so it ends up not being just me. I have every confidence that they're going to succeed, because at the end of the day, it just takes a willing team, and it just takes tenacity. Just keep going and just don't give up. There was a few times where I thought maybe I can't do this because it's so much work. And I'm like, no, to heck, I'm giving up. There's no way, I'm giving up on this. And there's no way, especially with all the hosts and the passion from everybody involved, like, there's no way that these would ever die. Like, they're just not going to. They're just going to keep getting bigger unless later down the road, I don't know what, but we all can't even think in those terms. We just have to keep going and keep our eye on the prize and just keep going with it.
So let me ask this question. Is Radio Luv just your idea? I mean, your brainchild, or do you, like, actually have a team of people working with you who help?
It was my idea. And later I got a team. And right now the team is sort of holding. They're not really avidly doing anything until I give them the go, because we literally just, like I said, had a few months where I pretty much couldn't do anything. And so there was no point in making everybody work when I couldn't do anything. And so there's a team. But, yeah, originally the idea was mine.
All right. That makes sense. That's cool. That's cool.
Thank you.
So all the shows that are going to air, are they all going to be logged on the website too, or?
Yes. There should be the link under programming, and I'm going to be putting up a calendar on what days and times you can listen for the shows to air. We're also going to be on Spreaker, under Radio Luv on Spreaker, and, of course, that's the gateway to iHeartRadio. Basically, we're going to be going through all the online channels. Also will be available there, iTunes, different. Okay. Yeah, so I'll list all that there and basically pick your platform on how you want to listen for everybody that's listening.
If someone misses a show or would like to listen to all the shows but maybe just doesn't have the time, they can, like, pretty much listen to it whenever they want. Is that right?
Yeah, and then if you go to Spreaker, which we're going to be putting them all there, you can download them all. So you can just, download at your leisure if you want to download them. If not, they should be where you can just play them right off the internet. And, of course, eventually putting them on YouTube, that's a service that I'm signing up for where it's going to be done automatically, because that's a pretty big, undertaking just for me to do that because, of course, video rendering, we're doing all the video stuff to put on the Roku channel. If I can, outsource something, which I'm a full believer in outsourcing, if somebody's talented and, wants to be a team member, awesome. So I'll let somebody handle that. I only have so much energy to expend on any certain topics within any given day, and so I'm kind of like a butterfly trying to lightly land on different flowers during the day, but I can't spend too much time on any one too long, or it just the rest of the stuff kind of starts sliding, and I have to keep it all together. So delegation, like I said, outsourcing, designation, stuff like that, that's where the team comes in. Hopefully this makes sense.
Yeah, that's all exciting. There's a lot to look forward to with Radio Luv, it sounds like.
Thank you. Yeah.
And
instead, couldn't do it without you guys. I wouldn't try. It wouldn't be. I could just do my show, but that's not enough for me.
Yeah. With the different variety of shows, it sounds like pretty much there was something for everyone within within the Radio Luv world. Something will get someone's interest. So sounds like a great deal.
Thank you.
And with the, of course, I like rock and roll, so metal show sounds really cool. Elemental Metal.
Yeah, they worked so hard on that show.
I've heard lots of great things.
I had nothing to do with all that progress because they literally, my role is just to help them and get them where they need to go as far as the technical stuff that I know how to do. Because production is one thing, recording is one thing, but making the calls and acting as a producer and expanding those channels is my role. But make no mistake, they were incredible in playing the part of getting a huge audience. Network 101, like I joked with K-Rock, if I could put you on the payroll to promote the whole entire Radio Luv channel, I would. Because, wow, she has talent that way, and so does Lisa Marie, because they're masters of networking.
Right. Have most of these hosts, have they been working in radio for a long time before they got into Radio Luv?
Actually, no. Most of the hosts this is their first, fresh footprint in the radio snow. So about 5 years ago, we had Billy on Radio Luv at the onset, I talk about Daniel Evans' show, and shortly after that we had Billy with Radio Show OKC. So he was doing some recording and sending his show to me. He's got some radio chops already. But most of them, Lisa Marie has TV experience, and she's already been on XM radio for a while. She was on the Sports Overnight show every Thursday for a couple of years with Jerry Burke. And so she kind of cut her teeth there also. But concurrently, she and I were developing the idea for her show. And then, of course, Crystal K-Rock, she already had done some radio work a little bit before this. So they've had a little experience, but pretty much not a whole lot. Not like an actual show production, being a host, growing to different channels and being part of that in the host seat. Not anything like that. But then I don't really know anybody that's doing what I'm doing and building shows and putting hosts in the host slot and growing the show.
Correct.
So,
well, that sounds really interesting. So you used to work in TV at one time too, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I worked for 3 different stations.
Oh, that's a lot of stuff. It sounds like you have a lot of experience too before you even decided to come into this new horizon known as Radio Luv. Yeah.
Yes, I have so much experience. I can't even. This is September will be my 15th year in broadcasting. So as of as of September, which we just went through September.
So when did you start?
I graduated in September.
What was your very first job?
In 2003, I worked for KTLV. It's a mom and pop AM station, Southern Gospel station. I wore all the hats of the station that you can wear. I did the program logs. I recorded. If you've ever seen that show called Frasier from the 80s,
yeah,
I basically did what Roz does. So basically you sit in the control room and you're recording people, you're putting them on the air, you're running the switchboard, you're taking the calls. But I took my American Broadcasting School knowledge of producing ads, and I made commercials, and basically I had all this knowledge I channeled in. Like I said, I printed the logs. That paved the way for me to go on to work at the Bot Radio Network, where I was the assistant production manager, and I did the quality control for a lot of the ads that went over not just Oklahoma, but Arkansas, Kansas, and Texas as well. And Bot Radio Network is 150 stations strong. Then I went on to narrate audiobooks for tape publishing, and I also worked for Fox TV station, the CW, and Ion Television before I went in to start Radio Luv.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite an accomplishment.
Thank you. And then I was on KCAA for 2 years, I think. My show was on in LA. During the time I've been doing all this Radio Luv stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have quite a roster of stuff that I've done.
Okay. Does Radio Luv currently have anything airing on the, what was it called, AME TV?
No, we're actually getting that started right now, IAS Television.
Okay, IAS, my bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're getting that started basically pretty soon. Just as supplemental to launching all the shows. It's not going to be the end-all be-all. It's just going to be something that we do, a coupling of that concurrently with the radio shows. So I think I mentioned during this interview, I know you and I talked about it off the air, is that basically we want to cover different multitude of media platforms, the first of which filming everything and then taking the audio off of that, using that for the radio segment, and then using snippets for other social media, not just Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, take your pick, basically any of those, just because we want material for every platform that we can utilize, because we want to have where everybody can experience it. Because some people might not want to go over to a certain platform to listen. They want to get it right on a different thing. Well, cool. We're going to have that available again. We're on TuneIn. We're, like we said, Roku. We're going to be on Alexa, Sonos, XM. I can't name them all off here. There's too many. but there's about 20 online channels that are just different listening platforms.
Oh, very, very cool.
Thank you.
Now, I would get in trouble with my audience if I did not ask you this. Who is your favorite superhero? Who is your favorite superhero?
The Incredible Hulk.
The Incredible Hulk, of course.
Yeah, I can totally relate to him. Like, I'm better now, but just kidding. No, and the 2 Hulk movies I saw, I thought the one with Eric Banos was really good, but then it sort of ruined me where I didn't want to see the second one, and then I'm like, no, this was good too. You know, so like they're both really, really well done. This is the funny thing with me. I'm not into superhero stuff, but if I sit down there and make myself watch one of these wonderful, great movies, I will actually watch it and really like it. Was it RoboCop I liked? I know it's probably not a superhero, but these are just so well done. Like, how could you not? Like, I saw the Wolverine movie where it was, what's the guy's name?
Logan? Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, but I saw the one called Logan, and I didn't even know what I was coming onto on the TV, and I just watched it, and I'm like, well, that was really good, and I think I just watched the end of a sequel, like, that I should have seen a whole bunch of movies before this one, but it was great.
Yeah, Logan's an excellent movie. It's based on... We won't do the spoiler.
Yeah, we won't do the spoiler of what happens, because it's sad, but...
Of course.
I need to
it's a standalone movie, pretty much, though. It's based on a comic book story, and so, yeah, there's no other movies to really catch up on.
Yeah.
So,
well, this is amazing because it's really interesting hearing you do what you're doing, like, because I know we're talking about me, but also I'm so thrilled to hear you do what you do, like asking me the pertinent questions of what your audience is going to like to hear, and I just really enjoy that, and I think it's awesome.
Oh, thank you.
I could not be more thrilled. Nothing gives me as much of a thrill in life, like my kids and my family, of course, but like there's nothing better in the world job-wise than what I get to do, because it's like I tell people my broadcasters are like my kids. Like, they cry, I cry with them. Something bad happens,
right.
I feel that pain. Like, I honestly, like you see this in Hollywood, like directors will be like really close with the actors after a big smash hit movie. And I never got that. I was like, oh, okay. But now I understand, like when you're making this giant production together and there's like a bond that happens, it's really cool. So I understand the whole thing now with producers and the talent.
Right. Well, I want to say, at least, thank you for this opportunity. It means a lot.
Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome.
I'm very excited to see where this show goes.
Oh, me too. It's going to go far. There's so much impetus behind it, and now there's nothing holding us back. Your producer's finally well, knock on wood.
Yeah.
We're going to make some things happen. I want to thank everybody for being so patient, because, you know, it just stuff happens in production. It just does. But we are never got out of the saddle. So I slipped out of the saddle a little bit. Maybe I was hanging from the stirrup, but I never got off the horse. And we're back on the track, and we're hitting the horse in the ass, and we're going. So anyway, I can bleep that out.
All right, it's exciting. And thank you for doing the interview.
All right. Well, thank you, Clint. Thank you so much.
All right. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.